doing the Flambient technique, and I wanted to show you today how this is done on site. So we have a room right here. So I want to show you my settings right here, f6.3, a sixth of a second, ISO 400. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that photo. I have the grid set on mine so I can pretty much be level. So I use a trigger. These are pocket wizards, but you can also get cactus triggers, which are pretty inexpensive. Does the exact same thing. Transmitter coming from here that is hooked up wirelessly right here to my belt. And that on top sends a signal. So when I click, it flashes. Step one is to get your ambient exposure. It's gonna look orange and it's gonna look nasty because you have blue from outside and then you have these orange lights in here, especially older houses, they have a nasty orange, which is the whole reason for this flash. Bring your shutter speed up to about 40, and what that does is it tones down the light, all the natural light, all the ambient light. Keep your f-stop and your ISO at the same. You can even, if it's really bright lights in the room, bring up your shutter speed to 1/50th. But I usually 140 or 150, that's really good. You hold it up in the room towards the white ceiling, and pop it off. So then you have a pretty evenly lit where you have the true colors of the walls, which is the whole purpose of popping the flash off. And then you do a window pull. And what you want to do when you do on your live view, you can see the exposure of the outside. It looks pretty decent. So you point it directly at the window, pop the flash off again. So you can see how it's bright all the way around the window. And what you're looking for is to make sure that there's no reflection, which there wasn't. And I'll show you what we're gonna do with that when we go into editing. All right, so here we are at the computer. So one thing that's very important that I use, and it saves a lot of time. I tried doing it for about 6 months without this tool, and it is a necessity. I'll put a link in the description, but it's a Wacom Tablet. Now, you don't have to have this brand, but I suggest, I plug mine in USB, you can have it battery operated. Has a little pin that comes with it where it has little function keys on it to where you can do different things and move around the computer how you need to, which makes skin retouching, real estate, makes your life so much easier. It's definitely worth the investment, and they're not that expensive. I think this one may have been between $30 to $60. All kinds of different variants that you can get. Just telling you, one tip, that's worth it. All right, so we get this little eyedropper. We're in Lightroom right now. And you can see in your little, this is a white ceiling. So I kind of am changing it a little bit. Now, I'm gonna warm it back up just a hair because I don't want that orange to be completely gone. And this is my flash shot. So you can see this back here. I'm gonna raise my shadows up just a little bit because I'm gonna use this piece back here in my natural light because this is the ambient, this is the flash. All right, so let me go down. Full bump. Now, the way I do my exposure, as you can see right up top, you have a middle, left, far left. So this is your mid-range. This is getting darker and darker, all the way to black. This is the same way, the opposite way. Your mid-range, your lighter, and your blown out whites. So what I'm looking for in these before, this is kind of my pre-edit stage. You can see how it actually looks white on the ceiling. Besides around here, it looks white. True blue, this one, see it's a little bit dark. I always want it to be a little right of the center right there because then when I go back and forth, push your arrow keys left to right, you can see that the colors are pretty close to the same blue, which is what you're looking for. This one, if you remember, is my shot for outside. It's a little warm, blew it up just a little bit. I'm just looking right here in this shot. Brighten it up a little bit. Because if you remember, when I pop that flash off, what I'm looking for is the exposure right here. And then I'll come in a minute. You can bump the whites up a little bit too, because that is white. We're just looking for the outside. We're not looking for, maybe bring it back down. I want that green and that out there to look natural. I don't want it to look too blue. Bring the highlights down just a little bit. Shadows up just a tad. And once we bring this into Photoshop, we can manipulate those layers as well. I don't think I'll need this repair, but what I want to do is take my keys and go back and forth between these two right here. I can push shift on these two, that way I can push arrow all I want and it'll just stay on these two photos. So I want to bring it up on the brightness. Now on this one I'm not looking at the histogram because the histogram is going to tell me the entire photo. I'm looking just for the outside. So you can see that right there, pretty dang close to when I switch over. And what this second layer, or what this no flash and just exposing for outside, what that is a, in case I pop off a flash in my window pool, it will make it to where I can go in and repair with the exact same exposure and I can draw it in. All right, so now everything's looking pretty good. The blues look good. The oranges are knocked out a little bit. Good, good. Maybe bring my highlights down just a tad. Maybe the exposure just a little bit. Trying to get that perfect, where this still will be lit up and the exposure still looks good outside. All right, so click the first one, hold down shift and click the last one. This same process you will use on every single photo that you are doing in real estate. Same process. So right click, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. So I'm wanting to open up all these right here. And we will give it some time. All right, so it's opening all the layers, and the reason I take them in the order that I take them is so that when I get them in Lightroom and put them over into Photoshop, it will put them in the order that I need them in, which is very important. So you want ambient first, flash, your window pool, and then I call it a repair layer. Also too, if you do not have Photoshop or Lightroom, there are other ways to do it. There are other software things where you can, but this is what I use. It's a very well-known thing, so tutorials on YouTube are very easy to find. There are thousands of them or more. So if you're not sure if you want it, I'll put a link in the description where you can try it out for 30 days risk-free. If you don't want it, you don't have to get it. You just try it for 30 days and see if the software works for you and it's what you want. All right, so I get these right here. I shift, click the last one. Then you go up to edit, auto align layers. Make sure the auto is selected. You don't want any of these other ones. No vignette removal or anything, and just click OK. All right, so then what I do is I go through and I click to see how it formed, how it got it. Because now you see some of this right here looks a little iffy, but that's okay. It's usually just a shadow. If you look at all the lines, see if they're all right. See how they're staying where they should be? Don't get confused by stuff over here because it will look like it's wrong, but it'll actually be right. So make sure you pay attention to the lines. All right, and that's the last one right there. All right, it all looks good. Now see, this was, I think during the recording of this, I kicked the stand by accident, so please forgive me, but that's okay. All right, so right there, I just made a layer mask. I'm just undo that. Command Z undoes. If you mess up, if you do something wrong, push Command Z, you'll go backwards one step. This right here, it's called a layer mask, and if you push the layer mask, it will automatically put a white one on there. Well, white, it reveals. Black covers. So what you want to do is you want to put a black mask over it to cover up, and so then you can go back with a white paintbrush and reveal what you want to be seen, because we're stacking photos on top of each other. So now if you click that and it's white, push Command I, and it'll turn it to black. I duplicate, Command J, that one layer. See, it says copy. And then I go all the way down to the bottom and I do luminosity. So what luminosity does, it doesn't bring in the color. Remember we had the nasty orange up here, some orange in here, you know, just from the lights. It's an older home, so the lights are gonna they're gonna kind of look orange and nasty. I want some of the warmth, but I don't want all of it. And I wanna be in control of everything that I'm doing. Say you're over top of this and you paint it in. Well, if you cast a shadow with your flash shot, then it will have a nasty outlined orange on the wall of your shadow. So that's what this normal blending mode is for. That will make that shadow go away. Luckily in this, I don't really see it. It may be a problem over here. You also will have the same issue with brown cabinets in homes. There's a lot of people like brown. It's a pretty color, the wood looks real nice, but in photos it can really cause some complications. So knowing this process right here will save your life and a lot of frustration. I know because I had to get frustrated myself before I figured it out. This third layer right here is the flash layer. So we have our normal, push shift and a click over that, you see it. But then I put a layer mask, made it disappear. I copied it to make it where it's now luminosity. Now watch this. B for brush, or a soft brush, soft round. 0 hardness, you want it soft all the way. On your keyboard, you can click the brackets. You have enter, and right above it, there's these left and right bracket things, and that will make it larger. These settings right here are crucial. You want your opacity at 100%. You want your flow at about 10 or 20. Now how you can do that, to set the flow, shift, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See it changing up there, right there? 6, 7, 8. All I'm doing is clicking shift and the numbers. Is just shift 1 is 10, shift 2 is 20, shift 3 is 30, shift 4 is 40. So if you're ever trying to figure out, you're doing a brush thing and you can't see what you're doing and something's wrong, your opacity probably is down. Or if you're doing too much, your flow is probably too high. So all these other settings, pretty basic and normal. All right, so now I'm on the luminosity, that's my blending mode. Now watch. Now what luminosity does, it reveals the light. And what I'm trying to do is make the flash look to be gone. I want it to look natural. I want the light to come in from outside. I want it not to look like there was a flash over here. See how it just changes it? All of a sudden it looks natural again. Now you can't overdo it, but I'm just showing you just to show you. Now see, sometimes there's a little like star kiss thing right here. That's okay. A lot of agents don't mind that. Makes it look kind of glamorous. All right, so see, there's not really any repair. See how that light comes in from outside? Looks very natural. And all this over here where I'm furthest away from the light source, which naturally is the window, I'm creating my own light source with the flash to get the true colors of everything. And then I'm editing out the flash look, so then it looks very natural. See, it pops so good. So I didn't have to use the normal blending mode at all. The luminosity one worked really well. I want to do a little more ground, just bring a little outside shine in, bring some more on the walls. I don't want any ceiling to look like it's flashy at all. All right, so now down here at the bottom we have these 2 layers. So I bring them up at the same time, which is shift and click them. Now it brings them to the top. Hide that one. Now you can see, obviously this messes up our entire photo. Click this to make it be the one selected off to the side. See how I just do like that? So if you have something highlighted, or if you have 2 selected, just click off to the side of one and it will select one. Now, this is very important. My blending mode is darken. See how it changed everything back to kind of how it looked in the first place? From normal to darken, click it. Now remember, Option or Alt, and then layer mask, and it will make a black layer mask. Now, I want you to watch this. This is very important. So I'm gonna make shift 9, and look, my flow went to 90. Now watch. Look at that. Brought down some of the shadows. It looks natural. And all I did, and it didn't matter where I painted, because I had the blending mode darken on, which means that it's going to show everything that is darker than that white that was around there. So I don't need that repair layer at all. No reason for it. So I can just leave it where the eyeball, where I don't see it. Now, go up to here, flatten image, hidden layers. Yes, I don't want that hidden layer. Now, Command S. See at the bottom it's saying save. Now go back into Lightroom. It will automatically bring that photo in. Now what I do so that at the very end I can export all these, I start at 5. That's all I do. And then I have some after edit presets over here. And for some reason, I always have to update this in Lightroom. And then it will kind of fix the walls again. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, now remember we had some edges that we had to do some correction because I kicked the tripod. Press enter, and that's it. We have our full image done that is perfect, deliverable, And this is the older home. This isn't even a fancy modern house. This is just your standard older home where I took like 20 photos, inexpensive for the agent, and you're making it look like it's out of a magazine. And that will get you more clients. Thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, make sure you click the bell notification so you can see every time I put out a new video. And if you have any more questions, comment below and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching.